Hi, I'm Zach Stewart.
Laura Hotchkiss.
And I'm Daniel Kvoras. On this podcast, we improvise in character as hosts of a morning radio show in a fictional country called the Driftwood Isles.
Everything we say is made up, and none of the events, people, or places are real.
It's that simple. Now enjoy this episode of Good Morning Driftwood.
And we're back for another thrilling edition of Good Morning Driftwood with me, your co-host, Penelope, and joining me, your other co-host, Dirk.
Hey now.
And joining us, your other co-host, Bench.
You're a rock star.
What was that?
Oh no.
Were you
Hey
trying
now.
something there?
It's a song.
Oh, hey now.
You're a
You were
rock
building
star.
on what I said.
Yes.
Look, we do not have time for this. The exam is in a few hours, okay? So we got to get ready for the exam.
We gotta
I've been putting
barrel
it
down.
off.
We gotta barrel down for this.
I've been
Look,
putting off studying.
So if you are a listener that is not
And we
local,
hope that you are.
if you
a
are
listener.
a listener, thank you. First of all, real nice
Kindest
you listen.
regards.
That's real nice of you.
Hey, shout out to our listeners.
Shout out to listeners. Shout out to also our fans.
Shout out to
May
our
or may not be the same thing.
shout out to my ex. It's a great song. It's a great song. Sorry, I keep
Your
looking
ex
at
is
you.
a songwriter?
Shout out to my ex. It's a great song. But I realised that we've referenced two popular hits, and both times Dirk has looked like we just made something up. So I've got to stop.
What shout out to my ex?
It's a great song by Little Mix that when you hear it, it makes you want to like dance down the street.
Who
in
is
Victory.
Little Mix?
Three at the time, 4 fun women who appeared on a singing competition show.
Did they win?
It's a great question. I don't think they did.
Then why are they relevant?
I don't,
They couldn't even win a singing
look,
show.
we do not have time for me to explain
All right,
how it's
carry
not
on. I'm sorry,
meritocracy all the time.
I'm just
Okay.
trying to distract us again because I really don't want to deal with this
You
test.
hate revision, honestly. Look, every year we have to take our preparedness, the Driftwood Preparedness Test, which makes sure that we are prepared for literally everything. It's part of the founding of the island. One of the founders, one of the early settlers on the island was a Boy Scout, and they wanted to make sure that we were good to go. Which really doesn't feel as relevant all the time. It can be a bit of a pain. You know, we don't even get tested on our driving.
You need
this
less
month.
survival skills to get by on a daily basis today than you did 200 years ago when
Yeah.
Driftwood was just a wild hellscape.
But also, you could argue that we don't need them because we have them. We have them so we don't have to use them. We are prepared. And because of our preparedness, we are not in situations
don't
we
have
are
to
unprepared.
We don't have to use our emergency skills because we never get ourselves into situations in which we need those
Exactly.
survival skills.
Okay, so consider other fowl. Just because you're homesteading doesn't mean you shouldn't be able to eat well. In
Okay.
fact, some of the best meals you'll buy in that swanky restaurant are from some of the easiest and most productive types of livestock to raise. Just remember that unlike chickens, other birds will need to be trained not to fly away.
Now, this feels like, once again, in this manual, trying to get Dirk to ditch justice.
I like the fowl that I like, and I prefer not to branch beyond that.
Yeah, but if
And
it
also,
came
it
to
it doesn't differentiate between friend fowl and food fowl.
well, this is
in the
it.
book.
And this is my worry, is that it'll get to a situation where you're going to have to eat justice.
Not going to happen. I will eat my own leg before I eat justice.
Okay, well,
I believe that so
Justice,
deeply.
of course, is my falcon best friend and roommate who I found while on a hike.
have
Just to catch up any listeners. Fans would know, but
Fans
not
would know.
listeners
This
may
is
not.
for the listeners.
Yes.
Okay, well, you could consider quail in your homestead because they will
As
be
a friend, again, I have to, as a
No,
friend or as
no.
food?
Is
For
it friend
meat
fowl
and
or
eggs.
food fowl?
Yes.
food fowl, meat and eggs.
Okay. For meat and eggs.
Meat and eggs, yeah.
Those eggs are so small, though.
Are
those are
quail eggs
tiny-
small?
They're tiny, tiny eggs.
You
Ugh.
only need one
kinda
square
fun.
foot for every bird, thoh. So
Only what?
Only 1 square foot for every bird.
What does that mean?
So
Square foot of
okay,
what?
so land.
They're 1 square foot.
We do this
That's the
exam
size of a
every
quail.
year. How is this brand new information?
Much like in my schooling days, I cram right before the test, and then the second I take that test, all of that information leaves my brain.
Oh my goodness.
So a quail is 1 square foot by 1 square foot.
The
Are those
space
the
the quail
dimensions of
lives
the
in.
quail?
They're 1 square foot size.
Yeah.
That's really that's really useful for storage purposes.
For storage,
Yeah,
for
like
stacking.
boxes, you can
Yep.
just stack them one on top of the other.
But you have to think vertically as well as horizontally.
I already was because I was talking about stacking them on top of one another.
True, he's got you
I'm
there.
way ahead of the game on this one.
Well, you don't want to raise flyers unless you're releasing them for hunting. You do want to have plenty of room at the top of their aviary. Use wire mesh to give air circulation and a solid roof to keep them out of the elements.
So you don't want to raise birds that can fly, but you do want to give them space above them.
Yeah,
just-
you don't want your food friend. You don't want your food bird to
Your
fly.
food
Food
friend.
fowl gets confused.
Don't let that food fowl fly.
Yeah. Listen,
Keep that food fowl on the ground.
I'm really worried because the exam is so soon and we are getting so stuck up on this. So, look, what is the one
We
thing?
should move beyond the fowl
yeah.
section.
So, what's the one thing you don't want to get caught without?
A magnifying glass.
My sanity.
It's actually,
Good answer.
I mean, both of those are okay answers, but the answer is sardines.
What?
Maybe you're.
Don't get caught out without sardines.
Yeah.
You need to always have sardines with you.
Sardines can be used for a variety of survival applications.
Name
I
one
can
that's not
only
eating.
imagine one, and it's eating them.
Well,
Maybe bait to find a food fowl?
But that's eventually to eat as well,
That's
so
true.
I count that as eating.
no, because that's like
That's
in the
not
exam,
that?
that's not classed as one. So number 5 is eat them. You could
Number
just eat them.
5?
Number,
Yeah.
that's
many are
definitely
there?
the
There's
most
10.
used.
There's 10?
All right.
Okay.
We gotta pump the brakes hardcore. These are the 10 uses for sardine.
Can we try to guess?
In a survival situation.
I
Let's
want to
guess.
try to guess. So we have eating and bait.
I'm gonna
Um,
guess as
First of all, so can I just say the bait comes up a couple times.
it's
Bait comes up
multiple.
twice here.
Okay,
How-
fair enough.
That,
My first-
Not fair.
my
not
first-
fair at all.
My first guess is as like a face moisturizing oil.
That's good.
That's a good answer, but I think you would get eaten alive by bugs, so it's not a correct answer.
I was going to say something kind of
But
similar.
you would maintain your youthful shine.
Also, I need you to both think outside the box, but also like what sardines come in and how that could be
I was-
useful.
I was gonna say you can use the tin to like store your makeup and
Why are you both bringing makeup in the survival situation?
Me and Bench have really been on a healthcare and skincare kick
You're both
lately.
talking about skincare
We
right
make
now.
our own shampoo together.
listen, it's so expensive to find one that's good for your hairs. And actually, if you make it at home, you can get so much better for so much less money.
Yeah, and I'm tired of giving money to Big Shampoo. Those
swear.
bastards have been milking us dry
We've
for
given
ages.
the amount of subscription services for shampoo that we each individually and as a group have
Mhm.
is staggering.
It
Yeah.
is too much. I was drowning in the stuff. I was using it as a spices and as a marinade.
What kind of spice is a shampoo? What kind
It's
of tasty
bitter.
flavor? Yeah.
It's real bitter.
Even if you use one that's like, ooh, smells of oranges. Like
Yeah.
it's still,
There's a real
disappointing.
acrid undertone.
yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the anise.
Isn't that a spice?
It is. I think that's a very bitter flavor.
So you'd think that would be nice if it was a spice.
Depending, the anise
Nice
have
spice.
like black licorice to a lot of people.
Okay, so your
'Cause it is.
answers are grease lamp. You could make a grease lamp from the tin. Start with
grease
some
lamp.
sardines packed in oil. Eat the fish, but place the string in the oil with just one inch sticking out the
oil to
wick.
cook other stuff.
Correct.
Nice, Ben.
Yep.
Good job.
There you go. Animal trap. So you cut an X.
Animal trap?
Cut an X in the tin, secure the wire
That's
to a
bait.
stake with a length of wire, place it over a hole. If something slender footed yet heavy, like a large fox, steps in the X, it'll punch through and get stuck for a little while.
That's bait. That's still bait.
But it's the tin itself.
Wait, the
The
tin.
sardines aren't there
so
anymore.
an animal will put its foot through
You need
the.
to cut an X in the tin and then
That's,
Yeah.
That
that's
seems like a
cool.
terrible. First off,
you're gonna
the
eat the
odds-
animal.
But first, the odds
You're gonna
that
eat a
this
fox?
animal's foot will go directly into the spot that you need it to go seems insane to me.
Kind of true. Also, how the animal has to be fairly large to like actually squash through the metal.
Yeah,
and get
it needs
like,
a great deal of weight. It needs that weight to be placed on that foot at exactly the right
I
point
am-
in the
Yeah.
middle of the X.
Look, last year we got
And
kicked
then-
out of the exam for writing too many times like an asterisk and then pointing out all the flaws with everything. Okay, and we cannot get kicked out again.
Like that guy in his rules, I'm sick of it.
Yeah, what's up with that guy and his rules?
No, it's the same guy who always administers the test.
That
every
one
year.
guy, yeah.
Mr. Stevenson.
Mr. Stevenson.
He never tells us his first name.
We never knew.
What is your first name? And he gets more and more bald every year. We say,
a lot of people are.
That's fair. I'm not going to blame him for that.
Yeah.
But he doesn't like when I comment on it.
Again, a lot of people don't.
And so I feel like he has
I'm
it
with
out.
you, but
I feel like he has it out for me. And so I feel like he wants me to fail every time.
Oh my God.
And he's always trying to position his head to catch the light and distract me. Like, so it shines off.
there was that
like
one
a
time
mirror.
started
So
a fire on your exam.
yeah, so it bounced off his head and like hits me in the eyes. I'm like, damn it, Mr. Stevenson.
You had all those
Let me
names
be.
on your table.
Oh,
That was his, but he put them
He
there.
put them there.
So that he could then
Start a fire.
start a fire later. It was a setup.
It was crazy.
What's
This
that?
is great. Like I got the newest edition of the book, and they've actually done a double-page spread comic of that time you faced off against a cougar.
I'm glad that's being memorialized.
It doesn't look like you, though.
Does it not?
No, I think they've taken some creative liberties.
Wait. Because I submitted a comic of it was called Dirk's Cougar Adventures. And I submitted a pilot version. That's what it's called, right? A pilot episode. And I submitted it to them. You're telling me they took that, but then changed the main character so that they don't have to pay me for
They're
it?
still saying it's you, but they've like the jawline's not as defined, and the hair's a little sketchy.
Maybe they're trying to make you look
the
more
hair
like...
is sketchy. I have a luxurious head of hair,
It might be
which
that
I
they
make
are-
a point to rub in Mr. Stevenson's face every single year.
It might be that they were trying to tone your features down to make it more like an everyman, more accessible to people.
Also-
Because
Okay.
you're very statuesque in a lot of your features.
Yeah, you
Okay,
told
that
us
pacifies me.
you told us that the cougar saw your beauty and ran away, whereas in this one, it sounds like you're trying to look imposing and you're screaming, you're sweating a lot, and then you floor it to your car.
Now, I do want to get into the test and
That
this
does
more.
sound like me.
We should
Because
discuss.
I often go into the wilderness on a cocktail of drugs. And so I'm sweating profusely. My eyes are insane and red and wide. And I am screaming a lot.
Yeah.
So cougars don't want any part of me.
I think we just need to address that when you submitted the pilot for Dirk's Cougars Adventures, that was very misleading to many television networks that kind of shut it down immediately.
Also,
without
you're
Yeah,
not
they thought it was
supposed to-
they thought it was a different sort
Yeah.
of thing.
You tried to send
about
it to
older
PBS
women.
kids, and they were very confused, even though it was weirdly appropriate for that.
And also,
Yeah,
you're
National
not,
Geographic Kids, who is one of our enemies, one of our nemesis, as we've
Nemesis.
established. I sent it to them, and they said, "This isn't for us. It does have animal wildlife in it, but please stop sending us pilots."
Again, I don't think it helped when you responded to them with a video of you saying, "I think it is," wink.
Yeah, and I sent them that a bunch of times.
So
Yeah.
many.
And I have
versions
it
of that.
ready to go.
Yeah.
and to be honest, I think sending a crudely drawn comic that you've made yourself out of crayon is
I
not
take
an
issue with the crude.
Yeah, that's
I
a
take issue with
judgment
that.
call.
There were some scenes in it that were like, okay.
You
But
had
You had,
third
like-
act problems.
yeah, some real third act issues. But also, I don't think that's how TV stations accept pilots these days.
In
Is
comic book
Yeah.
form.
yeah, like a stapled together
I
down
think
the
you
middle.
really just needed to make the protagonist a bit more active in the choices that they're making rather than the stuff happening to them.
So like it's my decision to confront the cougar,
Yeah.
but then I'm not likable if I'm just
I
going
don't-
picking fights with cougars.
I think you're being
I think
really
it's hard.
misleading here because you're making it sound like that's the problem.
I think it was. I think, again, it was like structural issues.
Agency of the protagonist.
Exactly. There was the denouement came in a little bit too early, so we had too much time
The what?
after denouement.
Elaborate on that and what that means.
It's the falling action after the climax in the storytelling arc.
I can tell already that wasn't an appropriate answer that was going to satisfy Dirk's requirements for explanation there.
Yeah, I'm just as lost as before you said the words you just
Think-
said.
Think about it like the décolletage of the story.
So it's where the
It's when it falls
story
down.
rests.
Yeah. Yeah. We can
Okay,
move on.
I'm
Yeah.
we
still
are
a bit lost here.
Yeah, we need to get back to studying. So, I'll tell you what. Right. We never get our priorities right on survival. So like I'll just throw out a situation.
Can you
and you gotta
rattle?
tell me what
Do
the
you
thirst...
still have the sardine thing in front of you? Can you rattle through the 10?
Let me find it again. Yeah.
That's a big old picture of sardines on that page.
Well, clearly they're crucial.
Yeah, you gotta know what
clearly
it is.
the most important part of survival is having sardines.
Also, that's a dry ass sardine box in that picture.
Yeah. We need the oil. The oil seems to be half the...
The oil's getting used for other things.
Rattle through those 10.
Okay, your 10 are, and I swear if you go on a tangent on the first one, I'm going to close the book. Okay.
All right. Hit us with all 10.
Grease lamp, animal trap. We talked about those. Signal mirror. Just use the can to signal for, especially if you have a way to polish it,
now
such as
you're
rubbing a little
elaborating
chocolate.
on them.
No, I'm elaborating. If you go on a tangent, that's a different thing. Trap bait. Raccoons and other omnivores love fishy things. That's a fact. Eat them. Just eat them with some crackers and some hot sauce.
How is that not number one?
Survival kit. You've probably seen the sardine can survival kits that are commercially available. While the can is a good idea, the contents are usually subpar. So just make your own. Fill an empty can and then use a generous amount of duct tape to seal it up.
Wait, fill the empty can. Oh, just
with your survival,
whatever?
Yeah, your survival gadgets. Mini frying pan, so you can like cook some things in it.
I like that one.
Camp stove, pour a splash of high-proof alcohol in and light it up, baby. Or coil a few cardboard strips and drizzle melted wax over them for a fire can, which can be used for cooking or fire starting.
Okay, now it's like kids' crafts thing. Oh, you can make like a...
What do you think it's going to be like in the survival situation?
I don't know.
In fairness, though, most of those things were put stuff in the can.
Emergency pet food is number 9. Feed it to your cats or dogs.
Is number 10 just going to be like use it as a trash can?
Shelter smoker. If you have a bug infested...
Wait, I thought we were through the 10 things.
Oh no, we were only on like 8.
What?
I only said 8 things there. Now 9 was emergency pet food. And shelter smoker is 10. So if you have a bug-infested shack that you need to smoke out, place some red hot coals in a large sardine can, crumble some dry rotten wood over the coals, place the container in a fireproof spot inside the shelter. They'll create tons of smoke and should resolve your bug troubles, at least for the time being.
So again, put stuff in the can. Also,
with
that stuff, I feel like you just put that on the ground. That collection of things that you just listed.
Oh, but you want to smoke it out though, don't you? So you're going to set fire.
Yeah, that's just the fire. It's not anything to do with the can or the sardines.
This is how you burn down the last shack.
I make a point to do that. That's sort of my go out with in a blaze of glory.
Yeah, but
when on all of my camping trips,
literally
they're very
the blaze,
cleansing.
And then
I
run screaming for maximum dramatic effect.
They're very good if you need like a new like a turning point in your life, like to start to leave some stuff behind. It's very good for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if I see a cougar, I can't wait to freak that cougar out.
We are talking about the big cat animal.
The animal.
Thing.
Indeed. We're talking about the animal. If I see a cougar, I can't wait to either scream at it or make a fire or do something. Most of my primary goal is when I go into the wilderness is to freak out the cougars so that they talk to each other and that I develop a reputation among the cougar community and that cougars fear me.
Remember, though, you did put this down as an answer last year and they didn't give you any points for it. So maybe...
To be feared by cougars?
Yeah, they weren't happy about it.
Yeah, they generally don't like when one of your goals is to scare wildlife.
Also, I think it's because on the Isles there is about one cougar, I think, and his name is Ted.
Yeah, he hates me.
Ted is not a fan of you.
Mm-hmm. Every time I go out there, I'm like, Ted's gonna get it.
Did Ted sign off for you trying to sell the rights to his story as well? Like legally, how did that work?
I don't know that cougars have rights other than just like the basic right to, not be harmed or have their habitat.
Or the right to eat you.
I don't think that's a right.
I don't think
that's a right.
I think that's a right. I actually don't think they have that right.
Nor do we have the right to eat it. Eat the cougar. No, I don't want to eat Ted. I want Ted. Yeah. I want Ted to survive for many, many years so that our saga can continue and I can continue to freak him out at every opportunity.
Right. Let's get
and write more entries into cougar adventures. Go on.
Let's work on the priorities for when there's a threat. Okay, so if the threat is a tornado, what is your first priority?
Run at it.
Set a fire.
Okay, that wasn't either of them.
What if we combine our two?
Ooh, run at it screaming with a fire.
Yeah.
Okay,
Because that'll scare it like the cougar.
Yeah.
what about?
Then the tornado will be like,
You gotta make yourself big.
Yep.
And make a lot of noise.
I think
lot
you've
of noise.
jumped too
Set the
far
fire.
ahead. So listen to
Oh,
live
that's like
TV
fake
or
three.
radio.
Gotcha.
You may only have seconds to react. Listen to
Wait,
live
radio?
live TV or radio.
But this is a
Why?
survival scenario where you're in the wilderness. Who has a
Also-
live TV?
How would I listen to radio? I'm on radio.
You've
Yeah,
jumped
that
too
we
far
make
ahead.
radio. We don't
Yeah.
absorb radio.
You've jumped too far ahead.
Hey, we're the radio now.
We were always the radio. We were always it. Why are you
We've
saying
never
now?
not been
We've
the
never
radio,
not been the
Bench.
radio.
We've always been the radio. That's true.
Now and forever.
That's our new tagline.
We are radio.
Yeah,
Now and forever.
you're thinking too far ahead. This is like, oh, you found out there's a tornado. You're not in the wilderness yet.
Okay,
Is
how
this
far
before the
back-
tornado is there?
Yes.
Then, like, wake up, brush my teeth, make a cup of coffee. How
Don't
far
go
back
into
are we
the
going?
wilderness where there's tornadoes.
That's
we can
good.
go super far back.
There you go.
Okay, your second priority is get into a storm shelter or an interior windowless
This
room.
is not in the wilderness. Storm shelters and windowless interior rooms. So that's a cave, I guess.
Again, just how far back we're going with the preparedness here. Because if we're going way back, I would go back in time and kill baby Hitler.
That's not going to stop a tornado.
Are you sure?
Yeah, pretty sure.
Tornadoes aren't
You've
just
gotta kill
the
the baby
souls of
tornado.
evil people.
Oh no.
Evil people die and a tornado is given birth and sent out into the world.
I don't
You take out badness from the world and then there's just more good.
think scientists proved that.
Matter cannot be created or destroyed, so the tornado within an evil man's soul must go somewhere.
Yeah,
I
explain
mean,
that,
logically it does calculates, but like I don't think they
Thank you,
You
for
know
giving
what?
me the logic
Tornadoes-
argument on that one.
tornadoes clearly are tricky here. What about power grid failure?
Run at it screaming.
Why are we on the power grid when we're in the wilderness?
You're not in the wilderness yet. Imagine you're like here. You know, there's a bit before you end up in the wilderness.
Well, if we could go back far, we could prepare for any eventuality. Presumably, these are situations in which we are
Wait,
caught out with an unexpected situation.
You know what?
If I knew how Ted was going to come at me every time, then it would eliminate the fun and the enjoyment of having to figure out a new way to freak him out every time he shows up.
Okay, for you then, the threat is wilderness survival. What's your first priority? Go.
Run
Set
at
a
it screaming.
fire.
Okay, incorrect. Find or make a safe shelter to stay in while awaiting rescue. What's your second priority?
Run at it
Set a
screaming.
fire.
Locate and disinfect your drinking water. Store some if possible. What's your third priority?
Run at it
Set
screaming.
the fire.
Correct. Build a fire and begin signaling for
I
help
bet
in
mine
numerous
will be-
other ways.
Everything comes to fire eventually.
Fourth priority.
Run at it screaming.
Okay, well, now that we've had set the fire, presumably it's
Run at it screaming.
cover myself in dirt.
What are you
That's
running
good.
at screaming? Because it's
The wilderness.
wilderness. Okay.
Again, make yourself big. Make a lot of noise.
So that the
Mhm.
wilderness knows not to mess with you any further.
Exactly.
hmm So fourth priority is look for safe food sources. Prepare and store some food if practical.
What are safe food sources?
It's a great question. Let's go back.
Back to food foul.
Exactly.
I bet it's one of the uses of sardines.
That is one of those uses.
It's one of those uses of
Oh, I'll
sardines.
tell you
Ah.
what, those food foul love sardines.
Oh, so do those friend foul.
Friend foul do love sardines.
All foul love
They love
sardines.
playing around with them. Yeah, foul love sardines.
They love playing around with them?
We know. Yeah, they'll toss them up in the air and then they'll catch them and they'll play.
Fun.
Yeah,
I like playing with
it's a
food
show of dominance as well.
over the dead fish.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it's like I can toy around with my food because I got so much.
Okay.
Oh, so it's more of a show of dominance over like other fowl of being like, look how much money I have. I have all this food that I don't even have to eat.
Yes, playing with dead sardines is a way for fowl to show other sardines that they don't need them.
Yeah, it's like a status thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know what? Whilst I'm still looking for the food page, what we'll do is we'll go to know your water. Okay. So what
Are
should
there
you be?
different types of water?
Yeah, these are like common problems with water.
Oh, the tap is not working.
That you're in the wilderness.
Oh, so now we're in the wilderness? Because
You-
a minute ago we were in a tornado shelter.
both of you were very adamant that we were in the wilderness. Okay.
Okay, tap's not working in the wilderness.
Okay.
Too hot.
The water's too
The
hot.
water's too.
good-
The
that's
water's
a
too
really
hot.
good
I can't
answer.
eat this. It's gonna burn my lip.
What would you do in that scenario?
Usually, what I do is wait for it to cool down.
You're gonna blow on it a little. You're gonna do a little.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I will do a little.
Put a
Yeah.
little tea bag in it.
Don't be dirty, Bench.
That's unnecessary.
Also, it's going to burn you even more.
How?
Because you know what? Disgusting.
Disgusting. Grow up, Bench. Go on, Penny.
Heavy metals. Where should
Heavy
you be
metals?
on the lookout for
I
heavy
thought this
metals?
was what to do about the too hot waters.
Oh,
You,
no.
like,
I've
put
moved.
heavy metals in it.
No. You're
if there's
worried about
metals-
heavy metals.
Oh, just take the chunk of iron out of it.
Because depending on the
It's too
type of
heavy then.
contamination
Make it
and
lighter.
its severity,
That's good.
heavy metals can, like lead and mercury, can cause organ damage and death.
Oh, this is a problem with the water.
It's a problem with the
There's
water.
heavy metals.
So where should
How do
you
you
be?
know if there's heavy metals in the water?
Well, it's the kind of area that you're in, so you should be aware of this in rivers and oceans near industrial areas. So if you end
So
up in
don't be near industrial areas.
Yeah.
That's real hard on Driftwood.
But
pretty,
wilderness,
pretty
Pretty much
difficult.
Every area is an
Yeah.
industrial area of some kind.
But you know
true.
what works? Making the water hot. Steam distillation will remove all heavy metals from
but
water.
you're just creating
Steam
another.
distillation.
You're creating another problem now. How do you?
You've got time. You're in the wilderness.
But what about the tornado that's coming in?
I mean,
That's going to mess up your still. That's heating.
that'll really
that's
mess
cleansing
up.
your water.
Parasites.
The movie?
No, that was Parasite.
It's
Oh.
too.
This is plural.
Is that not the sequel to Parasite?
They never made
Parasites,
one.
the dollar
Parasites.
sign? Yeah.
Parasites.
With a dollar sign, did you say?
That's a real story about the pitch for the sequel to Alien being aliens.
Okay.
James
You know
Cameron
what?
in
We
the
don't
room.
have time for this. We have
base of
to study.
knowledge
We don't have
is
time for this.
staggering, Bench.
So fluke worms and other parasites.
Fluke worms.
Fluke worms
So you were like, whoops, accidental worms. How these worms get here? Blah, 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 blah.
can cause liver damage, lung ailments, and a host of odd symptoms that
Ooh,
are potentially fatal.
That's a way less whimsical and goofy
You at
thing
first,
than I was
you were
imagining.
totally chill about liver damage, lung ailments, but when it got to odd symptoms, you changed.
Odd symptoms. I don't know
you-
what.
The vagueness
your
of it is worrying.
Yeah,
you want
the
your symptoms normal and standard.
One of these know they
By
are.
the book.
Odd. The imagination runs wild.
You don't want anyone making fun of you for having odd symptoms.
That's
You-
true.
You want normal symptoms.
Look at
Yeah.
that guy. His symptoms are so weird.
Yeah.
what other people
Unfortunately,
would
He
say.
sneezes light or something like this.
fresh water anywhere, you got to look out for parasites.
Fresh water anywhere.
Anywhere. You know how you fix it?
How?
Put heavy metal on it.
Make the water hot, boiling.
It's all about making the water
Chemical
hot.
disinfection
But what
and water
happens when
filters.
it's too hot?
Yeah, they still haven't told us what to do when the water's too hot.
Any cloudiness or significant solids in water will create hiding places for bacteria and other tiny vermin to elude the burning light of any UV device. This can mean that multiple doses of UV light still cannot properly disinfect the water, so make sure you only use clear water with any UV method.
Can I just say, if we are worried about bacteria and such hiding in the water, you could try running at it screaming, and they might run away.
That's true. We don't know what their level of awareness is.
We don't know.
Also, how much more do we have in terms of the study materials? Do we have a
Studying?
lot more?
Okay, so we've done about 10 out of the 338 sections of the exam.
I think
Okay.
we got a gist of it. Do we want to do one more, or are we?
No, I think we definitely need to get stuck into this even deeper, but we will do so on the other side of the break. So for Good Morning Driftwood, we'll see you soon. Good Morning Driftwood is executive produced and hosted by Zach Stewart, Laura Hotchkiss, and Daniel Kvoras. Engineered and produced by Zach Stewart. Music by Daniel Kvoras.